So Kelly, do you have a bucket list of sorry, that's what's your bucket list, man?
What's in your bucket, dude?
Yo, you
It's
got a
worms.
bucket
It's
list?
worms.
Welcome back to week 2 of the Two Socks podcast. We have Emily here, and we also have
Chris.
Yeah, I'm glad you picked up on that. I was like, he's gonna be enthusiastic about it.
Yep, we got some mild enthusiasm in there.
I mean, hopefully we're doing our podcast, right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, there we go. The old hell yeah. Oh, that was so funny when that first came in. I mean, to a degree, but it got a little overkill in the end.
Yeah, I think it really became apparent to me that I guess I was given too much credit for saying hell yeah when Jess was like, the thing you always say. And I was like, hell yeah. And she's like, yeah, that's like your phrase. I was like, it's not unique to me. Like a lot of people say hell yeah.
But like, didn't the enunciation of it come from Calvin?
Oh, I
Calvin
think you're
Green?
right. Yeah,
Because he would always go, hell yeah, during practice. And then everyone else just started saying that.
Yeah, Calvin was great. Oh my God, we should hit him up. I haven't talked to him in a minute.
We do love Calvin. Calvin, if you're ever listening, we love you. So we'll have to send him this as whatever. But
hell yeah.
Anyways, hell yeah. On today's podcast, we're going to be focusing on concerts. And obviously, this is a very not great time for concerts to be happening, but we all have some good memories of them, right?
Yeah, I actually, I hadn't even thought of this like prior to doing this episode, but I actually saw a virtual concert about a month or two ago, and it was like a different vibe, but it was still enjoyable. I was surprised.
Who was it?
We saw the Foo Fighters, who I'd also seen live, but seeing them virtually was very different.
Yeah, I mean, not only have like we adapted, but bands have had to adapt in that sense, and they're doing virtual concerts. They're doing like drive-in concerts, which I have heard are pretty fun. But yeah, like I couldn't imagine being in a band and that's your livelihood, and now it's just like, nope, probably not going to happen at least for another year, maybe 2, who knows? But
definitely have to adapt in these strange times.
Yeah, and Alex, our producer, he is quite the concert guru. I think he's the most like musical of us all, or sees the most shows at least.
I also have a weird experience this week. Actually, a couple nights ago, I tried out. So my brother got me a VR set for Christmas.
Oh,
so I may or may not have gotten super high one night and put on the VR set and turned on like a full-length YouTube concert. And like put it, drag the screen right up to my face and kind of dance for like a solid half hour, and it was a good time. It was almost like a true concert experience, but it was enjoyable. Yeah,
that's awesome. So when you're looking through the VR set, can you see like other people around you, or like what do you see exactly?
So there are different apps where you can do it live with people. So this was just like a normal YouTube video. There are other concerts that have been taped over the years that are specifically made for VR sets, where it's like a 360-degree angle, and you can see, you can watch the whole concert. It's like you're in the front row, but then you can turn around. You can just watch the people in the crowd. And one time I tried that, and I found like the craziest stuff. Like, people would come out and start like groping their girlfriends in front of the cameras. Like, if you look at the crowd, you can definitely see some interesting stuff going on.
Okay, that is really interesting. I never would have thought you can like do that with a VR set, but that totally makes sense.
It's kind of like if you've ever used the like the photosphere thing on your phone, except it's like a video, so you could just like look around like you were there, and I guess you just see everything that was happening.
Yeah, and that was awesome. I did a Bret Michaels concert that happened like 2 years ago. He's a little bit old and decrepit, but like he starts like screaming in your face, and it's kind of cool. It's a neat little experience.
That's a very interesting choice of artist.
Well, there's not many, to be honest, that are on there. It's a very new type of technology.
Did you guys ever watch his show Rock of Love on VH1?
I did. I was a big Rock of Love fan.
It was good.
I was gonna bring up how much Emily liked Love Is Blind with a bit of a twist here.
Yeah, and I've been patiently waiting for season 2 to come out, which it's supposed to in 2021. So
Oh boy.
we'll see.
Just watch Too Hot to Handle. It's better.
Oh yeah, this is the trio that all loves the. Well, I don't know how much you guys love it, but you watch it, so the love shows.
Well, Too Hot to Handle, I agree with Alex, was great. That was like, I don't know why I enjoyed it, but I did. They just felt like more real to me. I found Love Is Blind like much more contrived by contrast.
I love them. Thinking about concerts, how do you feel like this year is going to turn out?
I feel like it's kind of hard in general to like know where this year's likely to go. I feel like it, you know, as you try to like plan forward in the months and stuff, like it becomes very I feel like, you know, every other month type of thing where it like gets a bit of a clearer picture and you kind of hope that we have a better idea of how the year's gonna kind of shape up. But I feel like by the end of the year we might start seeing some things being like a bit more normalized, but even still I could very well see this being like another year or two of like pretty similar stuff to how it's been.
I mean, my opinion about concerts is I have always had a mixed feeling. Like I love seeing live music, but as Alex can attest to, the bands I like are typically like slower bands, which sometimes they put on a good show, but it's very slow and I get just very tired standing there, and it's like I can't enjoy the entire experience because I'm just like exhausted from like standing and not like being able to dance and stuff, you know?
I feel like I was just thinking about that like, you know, earlier today because I was like, man, what shows have I seen? And I like forgot about a bunch of shows that I saw where I feel like, I mean, tell me if you guys kind of agree with this, but I feel like shows kind of like end up in two categories. They're the shows that you go to because you're like super stoked and you're like, I had to go see this band, like this is the band I'm looking to see. And then there's shows that you go to see that someone else kind of drags you to and you're not really like hype on them, but you're kind of like, all right, we'll see how this goes type of thing.
I guess it just depends on the person and the type of music they like and the energy they bring to a show. But yeah, I think it can go either way. It's either like the show is okay and you're like tired and exhausted, or the show is amazing and you just like thrive off of it after for like hours, you know?
Yeah.
I think it would be a good time to bring in our guest though, because she is she is, I think, the show guru. I think she's seen the most concerts of anyone I know. So
Well, Emily, I think you said that earlier with Alex. So at this rate,
well,
we're
I
gonna have to have
lied.
a third guest that can also be the show guru.
I'll pass my crown over to our guest.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they didn't know she was gonna be here, so then I had to like, hype up Alex. Now I'm hyping up this guest, who I don't know why I'm not saying her name, but it's Kelly Duncan.
The crowd goes wild. Woo! Hi, everybody.
Hi, Kelly. Welcome.
How are
Thanks.
you
Thanks for having
doing?
me. I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. We've been talking about concerts as you've been listening in, and I was kind
Oh,
of thinking like,
concerts. I had no idea.
yeah, believe it or not, we are. I was kind of thinking, I was like, how many concerts do you think you've been to?
I don't know how many I've been to, but I can tell you how many different artists I've seen. Like, I can give you the unofficial count.
Sure.
Does anyone have any guesses?
Chris?
I feel like I need an over under. I want to say like plus or minus like 5 on like 35.
Okay.
So anywhere between 30 and 40.
I was going to say like 200.
Holy
200
cow.
different bands?
Jesus.
Maybe not that. Okay, I'm going to go with 60.
60? Okay. So, Alex, did you want to guess?
I'll go 25.
All right. Well, Chris was the closest.
Let's go.
According to my unofficial count, I've seen 44 different bands And
Wow.
that's not including like local bands that like my friends are in, or like weird cover bands that I've seen, or like just different events I've gone to.
It's funny, Kelly. I hadn't even thought about like local bands. Like I actually saw my brother's band. Shout out if he ever actually listens to our podcast. But yeah, like I didn't even think about that when I was thinking about like total numbers. So that's kind of wild.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of surprising. And I was like looking at old ticket stubs and stuff. You guys remember ticket stubs and not like just showing your concert ticket on your phone? Like I found my first ticket stub of all time. My first concert I've ever been to. It was in
What was it?
2007. It was 2007. I went with my mom to see Evanescence.
Oh, that's a good first show.
Yeah, I think it was at the Wachovia Center or something like that. It was just really fun, and I've been going like ever since. It's just never stopped. That's why I won't be able to hear anything when I'm old and withered.
Yeah, I was gonna
No
say.
one.
Did it bring you to life?
It brought me to life. Way
It
to go,
showed her
Amy
the way.
Lee.
Alex,
I've
you're taking
outpunned
over.
you, Chris.
I was gonna say you're taking over my bad joke role for the night. What the heck?
I had to. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fair. I was gonna ask Kelly, does your mom still attend the concerts with you?
Yeah, occasionally. I think she is really into the band Blue October. My mom really
Really?
loves. Yeah, so like I've been to see Blue October with her, I think 2 or 3 times. We also went and saw My Chemical Romance together, and I don't know. Muse. She got me tickets to see Muse once. That was fun.
I feel like I need to meet your mother. She has quite the fun taste in music.
Oh, my mom's great. You'll love her. Yeah, she would like you too.
Hell yeah.
She would. I feel like my mom just buys me tickets to like Dave Matthews every year. I'm like, thanks, Mom.
Are you guys the type to like dance at concerts? Like, I feel like Dave Matthews, like people get really groovy, you know? Like, are you the ones that are in the crowd? Like,
I usually go to like the more like crowd surfing, like running into each other mosh pit type of shows. And I feel like
okay.
it kind of depends on the vibe. Like if the group that I'm with has kind of started to do that, I feel like your adrenaline starts going and you're also pushing people and like getting into it. But
Uh-huh.
there's definitely also been shows that I kind of just like stood to the side, like jamming and singing along. Kind of depends.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I'm usually the type to be in the pit of things too. And I like a lot of punk music and like rock and roll kind of stuff. So I feel like I'm always up there like throwing beers and you know, you get a little rowdy. It's fun. That's why you go. I fucking miss it. Jeez. Get all sweaty
Yeah,
and
there were
gross.
getting all sweaty just thinking about it. We got to get the concert going.
Yeah, I think I'm more like I'll dance, but like with my space. I don't know how much I love being pushed in the front, and I mean, unless I like really love the band and I'm having a great time. But usually I'm like, I'll go to the side and dance, you know?
There you
Yeah, that
go.
was
That's
like
respectable.
Yeah.
we used to go to shows with like my brother and our friend Connor, and the plan for those two was my brother would just be like in front of Connor, and Connor would just push him, and they'd go all the way to the front like as soon as the music started, and it worked for like a lot of shows. I was always like really impressed.
Just like, ready, go. Emily, I feel like
Yeah.
you're like on the outskirts and you like push people back. You like hold the line to protect like the people who are jumping around.
There's been
Hold the
often
line.
times where I just hold out like the arm with the fist, you know, where people are like, just stay this far away from me, stay in your lane, like, and I think that's been
Like
like
threatening.
not threatening, but just like, you know, that's like my protection mode if things get rowdy. Cause like also in high school, for some reason, I went to a lot of like hardcore shows. That was a phase. But that was like the thing to do. You held out your fist and like as people were going nuts in like the pit, you just kind of like that was your way of like protecting yourself. But I mean, I don't really
Yeah.
go to shows like that anymore. So it's more just like I got my space. I'll give him a little like push, like, oh, get back there, you have fun. And yeah, that's me.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was like the craziest mosh pit you guys can remember?
Well, I remember I saw this band. I think it was either a band that like went to the same that was from the same town as I, or it was this other band called Saves the Day. I can't remember, but
I've heard of them. Yeah.
basically, people were in the mosh pit. They were like, jumping over each other, doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and this guy fell and was just like down on the bottom of everyone. So like, and the singer actually stopped the show and said, "Get that man up right now," because he saw what was happening.
Mhm.
And literally they like just stopped playing and they're like, "You guys need to be a lot more careful because this is getting out of hand." So that was kind of interesting because like people were getting hurt. And like of course I was on the side, but
Shut it
yeah, that was
down.
probably like, yeah, it was interesting just to see the band stop the show and to help someone, which I thought was pretty admirable because like someone could have easily died, like,
Yeah,
if
just
they're on
gotten
the floor and people
trampled.
don't notice. Yeah, and that's happened before in like really big concerts. There's been deaths from people, overcrowding or like pushing people to the front, or someone falls and you just don't realize it. So it really can get dangerous depending on the circumstances.
Yeah, that really is the worst too, when you are the one that falls down at a show and you like maybe you lose your glasses, you're like, and you're just trying to climb your way back up. But
Yeah.
people don't care. They're jamming too hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like the differences with mosh pits from what I've seen, like in the US, when you fall in at like a concert in a mosh pit, people will like step on you, or if you drop something, like it's gone often, like depending on how crazy the mosh pit is.
You
But
can't help that stuff though sometimes. It's like
yeah, true. And
like
then
I
in Europe,
always wear contacts when I'm at a show because I know that I'm gonna be like fucking bopping around.
Yeah,
right?
agreed.
That's a good call. And in Europe, it's like I've experienced the complete opposite. So I've been in mosh pits out there in like Germany and stuff, and somebody will fall, and the entire mosh pit just stops, and they all help them up, stand up straight, and then they resume. Or somebody lost a shoe, and then like 3 rows of people behind them, like we were all looking for the shoe, and somebody held it up like way behind us. We're like, "I got the shoe," and everyone cheered.
Everyone's like, yeah, fuck yeah, you got the
Yeah.
shoe.
It was an awesome experience.
Yeah, that is always very gratifying. Where it's like, okay, we got this guy together. Like he's going home tonight with his glasses. Sure, they're broken, but it's cool.
He's
Yeah,
got a
memento.
Hell, at least got them fixed or something. Like this could be worse.
It's more to have the story, like, hey, my glasses don't work anymore, but I was at this awesome concert and stuff like that.
Radical.
Yeah. What's one of the best concerts you've been to, Kelly?
My number one was, well, there's like this is a hard question because there's like definitely a lot of like shows that have been very memorable to me that were like musicians that were super important to me that I have like been a fan of for forever. But my favorite show, I initially I had bought tickets to go see a band called the Growlers with you and Carly. I think it was you, right, Emily?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And me too.
I like bought those tickets and then I like found out that David Byrne of the Talking Heads was coming to the Mann Center. And I like thought about it for a while. I think on Thanksgiving or something, I saw my Aunt Wendy and she had just seen David Byrne and she was she was like, "Oh my god, it's amazing. You should get a ticket." And it was the same night as the Growlers show. But ultimately I was like, "Fuck it. Fuck the Growlers. Like you guys are great." But I ditched you guys and I went and saw David Byrne by myself at the Mann Center and it was just like the best show of all time. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So I think that's my number one. It was just an amazing experience. And like having like a shitty lawn ticket, like being by myself, I could just go wherever I wanted. And I like worked my way really close to the stage and it was pretty great. Nice, clear night.
Well, you made a wonderful choice because Alex also came to the Growlers and obviously Carly and I went. and we did not have a good time. It was like okay, but it was just very slow, and I don't know. I just felt like they could have put more into it, but they just I don't know. And maybe that's judgmental, but
They
it was
phoned it in.
yeah. So I think you made the right choice going to David Byrne. Like maybe you would have had a good time, but I think you would have regretted it. You know?
Yeah, I remember,
Yeah.
Emily, you looked at me like 5 or 6 times throughout their set, and you were like, "Should we go home? Should we just leave?"
Oh, speaking of shows
Uh,
that we left, Emily, remember when we saw Steve Malkmus?
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Like,
was surprised because you guys are not like the type to leave a concert, but you're like, we want to get the hell out of here. And I was like, okay. I was like, this isn't
yeah.
that great.
So Steve Malkmus is in like Pavement. He's in Steve Malkmus and the Jicks, which is like a spin-off kind of deal. Like he has a lot of amazing music, and I'm sure Pavement was great back in the day, but I just personally do not get his newer stuff that he was playing that night, and it was just not where I wanted to be.
Yeah. And it was funny because we were also there with like Danny Montz, Rachel Crew, and
Yeah.
Jay, like Tall Jay. And Jay was loving it. I like leaned over, I was like, oh, like, you like it? And he was like, yeah, this is amazing. He's like, how about you? I was like, yeah. I
No.
was like, it's great. And then like we're gonna go though. So
Yeah, we did leave early.
yeah.
I
But
was like, we're loving it so much. We're actually gonna leave because we can't handle the amount of enjoyment we're having.
Can't even.
yeah, that was the right response. But had a really good salad though before that concert, so that was nice.
Oh, nice. I remember everywhere was like crowded. That's another thing is like trying to get food before a show, because it's always you got to get to Philly and then you got to like have dinner prepared, and it's a whole thing to wait in line sometimes and get your tickets at will call maybe. Like, I don't know. It's at park. You know, there's like a lot that goes into a night at a concert. You got to get home. You drink too much, you got to find a way to get home.
Mm-hmm.
It's an ordeal. You're looking at like a 5 to 6 hour window. I feel like a lot of the time at like a minimum.
Yeah, sometimes even more. Especially if you have to go into Philly from the suburbs. Like if you're in Philly, it is like easy peasy, but like traveling on 76 at like 5 o'clock on a fucking Friday night is like the worst thing to do. Like getting to a concert, you're just sitting there for like an hour in traffic, like, all right, gonna be there soon.
You guys are gonna convince all of our friends to never come into Philly again.
They barely come anyways now, so what are you
Yeah,
gonna
that's
do?
true.
The pandemic, Emily.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a pandemic, so we can't hang out. Which is true. I'm not actually hanging out that much with people besides Kelly.
But I'm special.
Yeah, Kelly's different. We watch The Bachelor together, so
That's a whole nother podcast.
yeah, we can't get into that now. That'll take up way too much time.
I was curious. I was gonna ask you guys, what's the right way to put this? Like the show that surprised you the most. Like you weren't necessarily going in with like high expectations, and you were like actually pretty impressed by what you saw.
It's a great question. I have to think about that.
I was like introduced to an artist at a show. She opened up for the band. She was the opening act. She went by Lady Lamb and the Beekeeper, but now she's just Lady Lamb, and she opened for Beirut. And that was like another early show. I think that was in 2009. I went with my brother, and it was in Baltimore. And she opened up the show, and she was just like amazing and blew everyone away. Her voice was so powerful. And I've been a fan of her ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Same deal with the Hold Steady. I went with my boyfriend at the time and saw the Hold Steady play, and that was just like that was just awesome. A riot of like fun and good vibes.
Mm-hmm. Chris, do you have a specific band you're thinking of that has surprised you?
Well, I guess like it's not fair to say that they surprised me because I guess like if you follow them or if you know them, you maybe like expect them to be good. But honestly, so my dad was a big Switchfoot fan, and he like asked if I wanted to go to I think at least 2 of their concerts. I might have been to 3, and they put on a really good show. Like I don't like love their music overall. They've got a couple of singles that I'm like pretty hype on, but yeah, they've got like bubbles and smoke machines and like just all this like wild like extra stuff, and like John Foreman just belts it. Like it's an impressive show. If you ever get the chance, not
Switchfoot.
sponsored, but yeah, I was impressed.
Rock on. You thought of one, Emily?
I haven't. I have such a poor memory when it comes to thinking of concerts. I was like, oh, maybe the Jonas Brothers when I was 16. And
That's awesome, though. That's a good show.
Yeah, I'm pretty
yeah,
jealous.
so Nikki's Catholic school, we worked the like booth there and served food for half the concert, and then like the trade was we get to go see half the concert. So we saw half the Jonas Brothers and Demi Lovato at like 15, 16 years old. Every teenage girl's dream, you know? So that was fun.
All right, so guys, in a different kind of question, what would be like your bucket list of like bands or a band that you're particularly interested in seeing at some point?
I think I would like to see some classics while we still have a chance. Like, I thought about getting tickets to go see the Rolling Stones when they came through. But tickets were so expensive. Like, it just wasn't worth it after a certain point. It was just so much money. But like, that would be cool. It'd be fun to invent a time machine and go back.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that if we had time travel, going to a concert would be my first use for it, but that wouldn't be the last. So it's in there.
Yeah. I'd
I'd
really
say-
like to see like Taylor Swift. I think that would be awesome. She's just an icon of the generation, and I love her.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember this year for New Year's, like we did a small get together with like just my parents and my brother and like his girlfriend and another friend of ours. And after like the new year, I turned on 22 by Taylor Swift, and my mom turns to me and she's like, "Chris, you like Taylor Swift?" And I was like, "Mom, everybody likes this song." Like, yeah, she's
You're like, I don't know about you.
about but I'm feeling 22. No, she's got so many really good songs for sure.
This isn't bucket list, but it's just like the person that's coming to mind right now. I want like a front seat row to Beyonce because
Oh my
I think
god.
it would just be the greatest time of my life. Just like drunk as shit, dancing like a maniac. And Beyonce's right there, and she's like just a beautiful human being. So
Just
I think that's
radiating
the correct
energy.
answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think if we could get Beyonce and Shakira to do a show together, that would be
a lot of butt shaking. Someone had to say it.
Yeah, that's fair.
What about you, Chris?
That's a good question. Bucket list. The first thing I thought of, which is unfortunate because like we can't see them in what they were, but like, have you guys seen Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I was just so blown away by like the reenactment of what Queen was.
Mhm.
I was like, I wish I could see Queen.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah, I mean, and I can't even imagine being like someone who can actually sing well and like belt out just like a great tune and people just love you for it. Like that's incredible.
I
Oh.
can. La 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 la.
And tune
We
in
knew
next
we,
week for our sing along.
Well, I got the age-old question that everyone's wondering. What type of socks is Kelly wearing?
Oh, hang on. Snyder just barged in. 1 second.
Well, that's rude. We're in the middle of a podcast.
Snyder. All right. Well, so as I don't know what day our listeners are listening to this show, but it snowed today, and I had freezing cold feet because I was working from home in the kitchen, and I just got a new pair of slippers that make my feet sweat. So I put on a pair of like knee-high cotton socks. They're red striped. And then I put a second pair of socks on top of them. And those are royal blue, and they have a pug's face on the top. You put your feet together and you make a little pug face.
Aw.
And those are
Wow.
my socks.
So not only do
Wow.
we got 2 socks, but we got 4 socks and some pugs. Incredible.
Where is the line?
I feel like I need clarification here though, Kelly. So your feet sweat in these slippers, so you put on 2 pairs of socks?
They sweat in the slippers because of like the material, I think. It's like not a very breathable material. So it's like a polyester fake fleece kind of lining on the slippers. So I think having like a little bit more breathable material has helped out the situation.
Gotcha.
Well, you need warm feet these days, huh?
Sure do.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Kelly, for coming onto our show. It was so much fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
What
you,
an
Kelly.
honor. Thank you. I had a great time. I appreciate you putting in all this effort. It's fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great to have you.
Yeah, and we will be back again, believe it or not, with another episode next week. New guest, same time, 2 socks. Is that our motto? Did I just make us a motto?
We'll talk about it.
All right. That's a off the grid thing. I get it.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Toodles.